Good afternoon, esteemed traders and investors. Today is Thursday, January 15th. I present to your attention another market review for Forex. As always, I'm glad to be here with you today. The day before yesterday, our trading idea for Bitcoin worked out. We are expecting a downward movement in the majors, and let's take a look at the news that awaits us today. Here are today's news items. We have initial jobless claims in the United States, still without Greenland and the States of America. This news will be released at 16:30. Let's wait for these events and see what we can trade on the charts. So, gold quotes are under pressure. Well, it's logical, of course, that after such powerful bullish impulses, especially at the beginning of the week, we are seeing some corrections. Let me remind you that for gold, there is an exceptionally interesting price level, which is located at the significant low point of the day before yesterday, and there is also another point to consider. A correction low from the Asian session at the level of 4,561. All of this creates a kind of trend line, which, in my opinion, we should break through at some point. Well, something like this. Whether it will be a true breakout or a false one is currently unknown. But this move needs to happen to shake out the buyers who got stuck at the highs here. This is what usually happens, friends. Yesterday, during the US session, they cut through the level set in Europe. So basically, they're knocking out the sellers, but the buyers are still stuck here in the market. This is not right. Not right. I think this move could happen in the near future, maybe even today. On the news, the Euro-US dollar pair continues to move down, just as we planned. This is that short setup. Let me remind you that this trading idea is also based on the analysis of weekly timeframes. Last week was a short week. This week is also falling, and right now we're trading below the inflation level. I think we could very well break last week's low, as well as the low that's next to the lows of this impulsive weekly bar. There's not much left to go here. But when evaluating the correlation with other majors, there is a strong suggestion that we could reach this trendline support. And then, by the way, even break through it, but for now we're only counting on reaching it. So that's how it is. The pound-dollar pair is also under pressure. Let me remind you that after the return to the inflation level, the area of the short breakdown was also tested after inflation. Yesterday, we tested the inflationary short breakdown. By the way, let me remind you that it happened here. Right now, the instrument has formed a range between yesterday and today. All of this is still in a flat state for now, but US news is coming up. Let me remind you that here, the technical analysis is the same. The short idea from the weekly time frame is the range at the 1.33719 level, which is formed by the low of the initiative bar. This is the short bar, and basically we're waiting for a breakout here, which could be volatile. The Australian dollar is correcting upwards. Here, the support area at the lows is also very clearly defined. You can see it on the 15-minute chart and on the 4-hour chart. Excellent, thank you. So this is a zone around 0.66600 approximately. Yes, you could even round it to that ominous number, 666, and I think those who believe in mysticism will agree with me here. So this kind of movement could very well play out from the current price action. It could go down to 400 here, but who knows how deep it might go.
Looking for real trading advantages? Forex offers the lowest spreads and commissions. On major currency pairs, our conditions are better. Lower spreads and only $5 commission instead of $7. That's real savings for every trader. And now, let's get back to the market review.
As for the US dollar, Canadian dollar, while we're being paid, I'm showing the daily charts. The instrument is currently rising. Let me remind you that there are two distinct zones for selling your assets here. The first one isn't very profitable, and the second is positioned at a slightly higher level. In about 700 points, we'll encounter the resistance of the short breakdown zone that occurred back in November. And from here, you can try to go short with very ambitious profit targets, which I have clearly shown on the chart. Dollar-yen. After yesterday's crash, the dollar-yen is trying to start a third wave. It's trying to do this from the nearest short position. Here's the breakdown point, but it's not very profitable, so I was waiting for a higher price. Overall, it's an interesting situation. Actually, it looks like a breakout. The breakout in February 2025 turned out to be false, and we could also see a correction here. But of course, I would prefer higher prices in order to sell at better levels. As for oil, after the dovish statements, I would say, when was that Trump statement that well, let's put it this way, which basically put the next attempts to bomb Iran on the good old American tradition have been placed on hold, and the quotes immediately deflated because all of this naturally directly affects the very real possibility of significant disruptions in crude oil supplies to the interconnected global energy markets. Accordingly, the movement is downward. Let me remind you that below we have a very strong long break zone on the 4th time frame, and if we go ahead and add another additional dollar from here to that, you can buy this most interesting and valuable asset again in the 3rd wave, where the country will most likely reevaluate its stance and change its mind regarding the kinetic project. 10. May the heavens above forbid another bomb queen, of course, but there is absolutely no smoke whatsoever without impulse, and therefore a clear impulse exists. Perhaps it is entirely possible to profit significantly and generate substantial revenue here on the rollback. Well, it is currently priced at about $4 or even potentially $5 within the usual 3-wave structure. Bitcoin, after Bitcoin successfully gilded our greedy trader hands with a very good 3rd wave upward, it is now actively trading in the market. It's already at 96 now, and many are dreaming of $100,000 because that's a psychological mark, especially the notorious Robert Kiyosaki, who is expecting $1,000 for some incomprehensible crypto nonsense.
I also want to remind you that every InstaForex client automatically receives loss insurance. For every $1 of compensation, only $4 of your friend's investments are required. Just submit a request, and your losses will be recovered. Let's continue with the review.
So, regarding the American stock market, the S&P 500 and Nasdaq are rising. Those who listen to my traders' analytical ideas. In other words, the Nasdaq has already been fully bought up, and naturally it was bought from the long break zone, which I specifically pointed out with my guiding finger. Here is that zone, and yesterday we entered it quite actively, and now we are seeing a notorious growth. I said that Nasdaq is still underbought, unlike the overbought S&P 500, and it makes perfect sense to pour significant money in here. As for the dollar franc and other instruments, I am personally interested in the grid trading method. Within the grid, this instrument interests me much lower than the current prices. If the lows are broken, then a grid of limit buy orders will be set. But for now, it's bullish and not breaking down. The bullish structures are still in place. It would be logical for this to happen in order to update the August and November highs from last year. With the strengthening dollar, the Canadian franc also gets grid setups from here and further on, as well as a breakout of the highs. If the current year's highs are broken, a grid of limit buy orders with a step of 500 is set. The sell grid here has a step of 500.
With InstaForex, you can triple your profit. For every $4 of your friend's investments, you automatically get an extra $1 added to your profit, with no extra conditions.
The franc and the dollar franc are forming a 3rd wave. But if yearly lows break, a grid of limit buy orders with a step of 500 for the Australian and New Zealand dollars will be set at the highs. It's not moving unless you are shorting above yearly highs. The limit sell grid with a step of 500 for the Euro Aussie remains in range. Waiting for a break of the nearest trend support, we'll set a buy limit grid with a $500 step. CAD is rising, the sell limit grid above yearly highs is set with a 500 step.
We also have a great offer. Fund your account and get a 30% tradable bonus. Trade with additional capital and expand your opportunities with InstaForex.
Silver is okay. A dump occurred during the Asian session. If you're dreaming of shorts, that's the zone for selling, and naturally at the nearest short breakdown, which is marked in red. Friends, InstaForex offers a free consultation with a personal trading consultant. Follow the link in the video description, fill out the callback form, and gain access to exclusive offers and special trading conditions. BRT Plus for risk-free trading. That's all. Trade with InstaForex, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for new reviews.